Welcome Unique Movie Recaps. The movie begins with a man named Styles that is sentenced to death because of a murder that he is accused of. He didn't commit the murder. He is honest, religious, and an honorable soldier to his country. He is about to get injected for death, and a priest asks them to bequeath his sin, but Styles tells the priest that he did not commit any of the murder. He is injected to death, and a doctor checks upon him and confirms his death, but he soon wakes up after the injection, not believing he is alive. He asks them why they keep him alive. The man tells him that since he was a military man before he was sentenced to death, they decide to give him a choice before he dies. The first choice is that he can submit himself to a medical experiment. If not, they can also give him the injection to die right away. Sergeant Styles, not having any choice, submit himself to a medical experiment that he doesn't have any idea about. Soon a doctor named Crystal comes to examine him. While examining him, her hands are shaking, thinking that he is a murderer. He tells her that he didn't do any of the crimes that he is accused of, but she refuses to believe it because she sees the whole trial on TV. She also tells him that he killed 11 innocent people. He then tells her that he used to kill people, but only when he is on duty, and when he is only ordered by his higher-ups. They framed him like everything seems like he killed those people. He then tells her that he is framed for billet cool reasons and asks her to stop fearing him. She refuses to believe it and tells him that it will not change anything if she believes him or not. He replies to her that at least your hand will stop shaking by ignoring what he said. She starts to take samples of his hair, blood, and skin. He asks her what the medical experiments are, but she refuses to tell him because he also doesn't have the details. Yet she leaves the room by only telling him to have rest and without telling him any further information. Meanwhile, Dr. Crystal is getting orders about the medical experiment, and she is shocked when she hears about the details. The man that leads the experiment shows her an alien sample. They want her to make Sergeant Styles' DNA compatible with the alien's DNA. In other words, they want to transform Styles into an alien and check if the alien is harmful or not. He tells her that it is top secret. Dr. Crystal tells him that it is possible to transform Sergeant Styles, but they can't be sure if he can survive the pain or not. Later, a general comes to visit him, and they start to argue. When Styles was a soldier, he did take an order from his higher-ups because he personally thinks that the decision was not right. This is the reason why they are punishing him. Dr. Chris Old listens to the conversation and becomes aware that he didn't commit the murder. Soon, the general and doctor tells him about the experiment. He's so surprised when he hears the details. He didn't expect them to do this kind of experiment. Styles used to trust this general, and he tells him that he thinks that he was on his side. The general feels guilt and pity for Styles. He's about to cry. While listening to Styles, the general says goodbye to Styles and leaves the room. The doctor is about to inject Styles to transform him. Styles holding a Bible in his chest. He forgives the doc for what she's going to do. Dr. Chris Old, being surprised, inject him with no mercy. Soon Styles wakes up with a lot of pain, and he vomits. The doctors come in a rush and inject him again. Styles in a deep pain that he cannot resist. His face begins to break out. His tooth comes out, but he repeats to himself the sentence, "They can change your body, but they can't change your soul." In the meantime, Dr. Chris Old comes to do more tests. He begs her not to inject him again. She tells him that she is not going to inject him. He begs to show him some dignity as human and asks her to give him some clothes. He also confesses that he didn't do the murder again and again. When he shows her his hand, Chris all becomes shocked. His hands start to grow horns. In the next few days, Styles' face and body start to change a lot. He becomes more aggressive and confesses that he didn't commit the murder. Every time Dr. Chris all realizes that his mind is growing so fast and the pain he's going through make them confess his innocence. After he confessed his innocence by shouting, he lost conscience and fell on the ground. The doctors become shocked and they start to give him an electric shock to get his pulse back. Unfortunately, they aren't able to get any of his pulses and they lose him. Dr. Chris all is so shocked, and she apologizes to him for making him go through this. Surprisingly, he wakes up and gains consciousness. Dr. Gristle is amazed. She figures out that his heart has changed place and starts to pulse. She asks him if he is feeling any kind of pain. He tells her that he is not feeling the pain that he used to feel. The doctors and the generals are amazed that he has grown a hot. In the next sequence of the movie, Dr. Chrysalis explaining about Styles' abilities to the man leading the experiment. She tells him that he has 3 times more ability to adapt to new things than human beings, and he also has 5 times more strength than human beings. He also can hear what they're saying from a distance. Now Styles has finished his full transformation, and he manages to escape from the room that they kept him in. Dr. Chris always is shocked, but we learned that the generals let him escape purposefully so that they can catch him and kill him. They do this because they want to test if they are able to hunt and kill these aliens. Dr. Chrysalis very mad at the generals because they made her go all through this process just to kill Styles. They start this search. As soon as Styles escapes from the cage, Styles runs into the woods, sees his reflection in a river, tells himself again, they can change your body, but cannot change your soul. The military force behind him is looking after him. Styles manages to kidnap one of the soldiers. He takes his radio and calls to the general to let him know that he will not kill anyone, and he also knows that they make him escape purposefully. The generals are so shocked to hear this. Styles then leaves the man he kidnapped alone and leaves the place, but the other soldiers kill the man that was kidnapped by Styles, thinking that he was Styles. He was so sad to see this. Dr. Crystal tells them that the action they are taking will not tell them anything about Styles. Instead, they can only see how Styles will react to these situations. The general acknowledges her opinion, but didn't take it to heart. He then goes by himself in order to capture Styles by himself. The general, leading the other soldiers, is looking for Styles. While looking for him, the soldiers, he has some strange noise that can disturb the human mind. While the other soldiers are looking for Styles, the general is suddenly caught by Styles at the back. You see, he catches him tightly and asks them to tell the other soldiers who he is. The general, being afraid, he tells the other soldiers that the alien is Sergeant Styles and he didn't murder anyone. He also tells the other soldiers that he was framed by the military and the government. Styles then explodes and disappears from the area without harming anyone. In the next sequence of the movie, while Dr. Crystal is in her tent, she is approached by Styles. She was so shocked she was about to shout, but Styles shut her mouth so that no one can know that he is here. She tells him that she didn't know what they're going to do to him, and she starts to apologize to him. Styles tells her that he believes her and asks her if she thinks he's a murderer. She then tells him that she knows that he didn't commit the murder and he is a good person. This gives Styles relief because at least one person believes that he didn't kill innocent people. He then tells her that he wanted to hear this before he leaves this place. Dr. Chris follows him when he's about to go and tells him that she can try to reverse him back to human. At first, he doesn't agree with her idea because he thinks that it is an impossible thing. He also tells her that he does not want to become human again, but she manages to convince him by telling him that she might be able to make the human gene dominant again because she inhibits the DNA that can make the human gene dominant. She promises him that she will try, but she also tells him that she can't be 100% sure. With this, Styles agrees and tells her a place and time to meet him tomorrow so that she can give him the injection that can make him human again. He tells her to come alone. She assures him that she will. The next day, Styles meets Dr. Crystal. He has a gun in his hand, being afraid that someone might follow her. He asks her if she brings the injection. Dr. Styles replies yes, and she starts to check her bag to give him the injection. She brings out the injection from her bag and tries to inject him, but Styles holds her hand and asks her why her hand is shaking despite knowing that he is not a murderer. He then figures out that she comes with a lot of soldiers with her. He asks her one question, if the injection can reverse him to human being, but she tells him that the injection that she is about to give him is a sedative that can kill him. She begs him not to harm her, and he tells her that he will never harm her. Heck, let's go safely. She tries to apologize to him, but he doesn't want to hear anything. He tells her that one betrayal is enough. The general tells him that everything is enough and that he has failed, but he tells them by shouting that he doesn't fail. Instead, he succeeded because he has his pure soul. The generals are again amazed by his courage and strength. They are about to shoot him so that they can get rid of him. Styles is not fighting back. Instead, he raises up his hands to be shot. While they are about to shoot him, a strange sound begins to disrupt their mind. That is to hide a standstill all the soldiers, and the general cannot resist the sound, and they fall down on the ground. Suddenly, several aliens start to show up from nowhere that shocked everyone around. They look exactly like Styles. One of the aliens approaches Styles and looks him in the face with frenzied eyes. The alien puts his hand on Styles' shoulder and disappears with Styles at the end. All the aliens disappear with a blink of an eye. The generals were happy, but Dr. Chris is not happy because she realizes that they have failed the test. The aliens set up everything purposely in order to know if the humans are good or not, but they figure.
Subscribe and press the bell so you don't miss any updates.